Chinese producers wield significant control over active pharmaceutical ingredients and key equipment used in the U.S. electrical grid. U.S. reliance on China creates a dangerous dependence that China can weaponize if it wants to.
The U.S.-China Economic and Security Review Commission says the Chinese Communist Party is aiming to weaponize U.S. reliance on Chinese medicine and electronics, with a threat of halting exports to have the upper hand in any bargaining negotiation. Now, they also examined other areas that could harm the U.S. and global economic stability, like the invasion of Taiwan, for instance.
Chinese incursions into Taiwan's air defense identification zone have increased 15,000% over 5 years, from only 20 in 2019 to over 3,000 in 2024. And they're on pace for even more incursions in 2025.
Beijing used its monopoly over critical mineral refining to impose export controls on rare earth elements. We can be sure China will be ready to weaponize these choke points again when politically advantageous.
A couple months ago, the CCP put export restrictions on rare earth elements, and that move triggered a trade war between the U.S. and China that later calmed down by a recent trade deal involving lower tariffs and removing those export restrictions. China has a monopoly on processing these rare earth elements, and without them, it could harm the U.S. and world economies and their national security, as rare earths are used in things from iPhones to missiles. The Commission also says the U.S. needs more data on just how reliant we are on Chinese products. That's as some products that don't overtly say they're made in China may have parts that are made in China, making the U.S. just unknown to how vulnerable it may be to certain supply chains controlled by China.
A lot of the time when we talk about getting drugs or medications, other things from India, for instance, a lot of the original inputs to that medication, to those pharmaceuticals came from China originally.
The Commission recommends responding to China's non-market practices by uniting with other countries to place import barriers on subsidized Chinese products. And the Commission also raised the necessity for the U.S. to de-risk from the Chinese-dominated industries and instead rely on itself and its partners.